Shabbat Shalom. We're going to continue our lessons on love. This is where the Father wants us as his people to be, especially at this particular time. So we're going to start with the scripture that we have been reading on numerous occasions. It's in Deuteronomy chapter 6, and we're going to read in verse 5. And it says, well, actually starting in verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Most High, our Elohim, is one, and you shall love the Most High, your Elohim, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. So that's the verse that has been guiding our meditations throughout this year. And we're going to read two more scriptures. One of them is found in Romans chapter 12, and it says, Romans chapter 12, verse 9, let love be without dissimulation. Abhor that which is evil, cleave to that which is good. And there are a couple of reference verses from Romans chapter 12, verse 9, and we're going to look at one of those. It's in 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 5. And that says, now the end of the commandment is love, out of a pure heart and out of a good conscience and of faith unfeigned. When we look through the scriptures, whether we're looking in the Tanakh or whether we're looking in the epistles, the letters to Yah's people, or whether we're looking in the gospel, especially in the Gospel of John, one of the things that you will find is that word love is throughout Scripture. For whatever reason, we have decided that either we don't understand what that word means in the context of our daily lives, or we do understand and we just don't want to do what the scriptures say. But in actuality, the biggest problem is that loving when we love in the scriptural sense, that has to do with a relationship that we have with the Most High. And that's why we always start with Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 4 and 5. Because when Yeshua was asked what the greatest commandment is, he referred the people who knew the law to the very heart and soul of the law, which is the Shema. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Now, we can't get to, in the New Testament, the part that says, and then you shall love your neighbor as yourself, if we don't know how to love the Most High with all our heart, soul, and might. Some people think what that means is the way that we know we're loving the Most High is by keeping his commandments. And Yeshua did say to his disciples, if you love me, keep my commandments. And my commandments are not grievous. But before he said that, he told a teacher of the law, if you're not born again, you can't see the kingdom and you can't enter the kingdom. Love is an attribute of the kingdom. So if we haven't been born again, we don't have the capacity to love. That is why love is such a foreign concept to us in the world in which we live. The world that we live in doesn't operate off of love. The world we live in operates off of fear, which is why the Most High is telling us as his children, while all this crazy stuff is going on, I want you to redirect your heart, redirect your soul, and redirect your energy to loving me. Because when you do that, all of your needs are going to be supplied. You will be able to shine as the sun. Other people will see what you're doing and want what you have. And then they will ask you, how do I get what you have? Which is the whole purpose of the Most High's people being here. It's to be that bridge between holiness or righteousness, the righteousness of heaven, and the reality of living on this earth. So this earth and heaven must be bridged. That was why Israel was chosen to be that bridge. And in Israel, that's why Yeshua, Jesus Christ, is the way to bridge that gap between heaven and earth. So we get to have a choice. Do I want to move in an earthly way in fear all the time, or do I want to do what the commandment says that I do, the commandment from heaven, which is to love Yah first? And when I do that, then not only are my needs supplied, but I become useful to him in the kingdom. And that's why only born again people can have the capacity to do that. Without the Spirit of the Most High being in us, we will be, without question, without doubt, run over by our enemy, the serpent. We're still on the same lesson, the seed of the serpent versus the seed of the woman. The seed of the woman always, in the end, the seed of the woman in the end wins. So if we're part of the seed of the woman, we win. That's why the Father doesn't want us spending inordinate amount of time worrying and fretting over what the world is doing. It's not that we are not affected by it, but we should not be ruled by it. Because again, and as we close, the world is operating from fear. That's what the serpent does best. The serpent creates an atmosphere. The serpent creates an atmosphere of fear. The Most High, while all that is happening, wants us as his people to operate in an atmosphere of love. And in order to do that, we have to assist in creating that atmosphere by doing what the Most High wants us to do. And because we are born again, we have the capacity to do what the Most High wants us to do. So that's the blessing on this Shabbat. Father, bless you and keep you. Father, make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. Father, lift up his countenance upon you and give you his shalom.